Hi there, I'm Anna Prosser-Robinson for GameSpot on the front line at San Diego Comic-Con 2013. Comics and comic book characters have spawned wildly successful movies that have been smash hits in the box office, but what do real comic fans think of the way Hollywood treats their comics? We're asking fans at San Diego Comic-Con to find out. Megan, aka Lady Loki, tell me, what do you think about the recent Hollywood adaptations of comic books? Do you think they do a good job?
I think they've been doing a wonderful job, especially Marvel. I mean, DC too, but Marvel's really, the way they're weaving all the stories together is amazing.
Are you some people are kind of a snob about it, right? Like, they'll only go see a comic book movie if it's true to the lore, but I kind of go and I'm like, well, as long as I'm going to see a good movie, I'm okay with it. Where do you fall?
Oh, I'm definitely a fan of all kinds of adaptations. I mean, I made this, it's not in any real comic book, so I'm not too much of a snob, as long as it stays consistent with itself and the films. So, yeah.
What are your favorite comic book inspired movies?
I love Thor. I cannot wait for the second one, and Avengers has just blown my mind, so I can't wait to see the second one of that either.
What do you think of the way Hollywood's been treating their adaptations of comic books?
I've really loved it because they've taken a lot of things I really love about the comics and really adapted and expanded upon it and made it a lot of time more realistic. Because part of the thing I love about comic books is that they're so kind of unreal and kind of quirky, but all the movies have made it really realistic and a little grittier, and I've really enjoyed all of it.
I think it's a wonderful trend. You're seeing a more realistic, modern-day interpretation of comics that we can only imagine. And then when you have the Hollywood backing to bring forth some of those graphics and some of that imagination, that is just great. I think with a little bit of artistic integrity and also independence, they're doing a great job with it.
So do you think they're staying pretty true to the lore as it should be?
I think there are definitely some similarities as well as differences, but those differences help create a bigger world within all the comic books. And I mean, the comic books continue to make their own world, so it's nice to see new adaptations.
Are there any movies that you would like to see featuring characters you haven't seen yet?
Of course, Wonder Woman, please.
As a dealer of comics, how do you think the Hollywood adaptations of comic book movies have affected your industry?
It's really increased the popularity just all across the board. Everybody seems to know a lot more characters in all the movies. They know Avengers and X-Men, or just even more rare ones like Flash or someone that people don't see as much.
Do you feel like Hollywood is doing a pretty good job of keeping to the lore, like being true to the stories?
I think overall they are. When I see the movies, I can kind of tell, like, oh, okay, that's like action, like 100 to 200, or they're covering like 1950 to 1980. Like the Superman movie, I really feel like they covered a lot of different decades in the comics. The Wolverine, I think they're really keeping true to that. They talked about him in Canada and then Japan and flashbacks and being in love and just not remembering, and I think that's like the Weapon X series. I think they're really keeping to it.
And how do you think the film industry and Hollywood representation of comic book stories and characters has impacted the comic industry itself?
Well, I know that on our website we sell a lot of comics related to the movies that are coming out. We know when a character's getting ready to come out because all of a sudden we're like, wait, why are all of our, XYZ comics selling right now? And they all want issue number 4, and so then we'll look and it'll be, the first appearance of somebody, and then a couple months later they'll announce that movie's coming out with that character. So it has affected our sales in that way, in that we see specific titles going. But overall, if the movie is a hit, then we're going to sell more comics.
Well, it looks like the comic book community is pretty supportive of Hollywood adaptations of their favorite stories and characters. What about you? What have been your favorite movies, and what movies would you like to see that are based on comics? Let me know, mention @Anna Prosser, and use the hashtag SDCC, and there may be a Razor Hammerhead earbud set in it for you.